Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth this time. Do that again. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. You can make a sound or not. Third time's a charm. Deep breath in and out. Settle in and relax your face. Sometimes the jaw tenses up, so let your back teeth separate. Caterpillars are loosey-goosey. You might even wave a little forward and back, and side to side. They're very, very loose creatures. And then eventually caterpillars kind of cocoon. So pause here, take some deep breaths in and out. And then start to walk your hands towards your body. And grab a hand of your loved one. And you might even interlace your fingers or just press your palms together, whatever you like. Michael and I have to bend our elbows, but you might have straight arms or bent elbows. Once you have your palms together, take your other arm and reach it up and over your head and see if you can tap fingers. And you might have to lean in together and then set the hand down that you tap the fingers just right down next to you. And then see if you can reach your arm up with your loved one. Nice. So you kind of build a tunnel here. Beautiful. Nice job. Lovely. And then you might bend your elbow again, which we have to do, and reach your arm up and over and tap again. Tap fingers. Nice. And then set your hand down and build your tunnel. Reach up. Beautiful extension out of the side body. Good. And then bend your elbow again. Take a deep breath in this time. Reach your arm all the way up and over and tap. And then set that hand down. Last time. Stretch up. Beautiful. Lovely. You make the tunnel. You might even lean towards the hand that's down. So you're really extending out of the side of the body. This time, you set your hands down behind you. Now both of your hands plant. And plant your feet so your knees bend. Some of you will stay right here. Just puff your heart out in front of you. And let's allow this practice to be full of heart. So you're really puffing your heart out in front of you. What this does, parents, is it lifts you from the low back. And then if you want to, you might lift your hips up, reverse table, and maybe you start to crab walk forward and back on your mat. And I call it a spider walk because we're all stay home safe. So we have a lot of spiders that we're home with. And so I call it a spider walk, forward and back. And then set your hips down. Take a seated frog. So you'll plant your feet in front of you, knees are still bent, but your feet are kind of wide and your toes turn out from each other. And grab a hold of your shins and pull your heart forward. Lead with your heart today. But try to be relaxed with your arms. They're really just there for support. And your heart is leading. Relax your face too. And notice the lift you're creating in your back. This is very healthy for your back to be lifted up, up, up. So sometimes when we're sitting at Zoom, we have a tendency to crunch down into the back. This is a heart lifting pose. And you lift out of the low back. Nice. This will train the cells of your low back to act in this way. Beautiful. See if you can rock a little forward and back, and you might lift your feet up a little bit, and you're just kind of rocking forward and back. It's a rocking boat pose. And maybe a little bit of a dancing seated frog. Frogs can't sit still for too long before they start hopping around, right? And so this time, however you get there safely, see if you can lift your bum. So now you're in a squatted frog, and you might be flat-footed or you might be on your toes. That's a personal preference for you. Hands can be down in front of you. And you can pause here. This is a good inner thigh stretch. But if you would like to make it a bouncing or a hopping frog, you might do that. You might hop forward on your mat and you might hop back on your mat. Nice, good job. Beautiful, hopping frog. And once you're all complete with that, set your knees down gently, please, right under your hips. And then lift the torso part of your body. Once you arrive, bring your fingers together and interlace them. Don't bring them too close to your body and not too far away, but just kind of midway so you come into owl pose. And I'll move so you can even see Michael here. Owl flaps its wings a little bit. And this is nice and healthy for your brain to make the connection with your body, your elbows and your fingers. Good. Come back to center and press your palms out and forward. And now you take the stretch. Good. Reach your arms up overhead and take a waterfall where your fingers come down next to you and you wiggle your fingers the whole way down. Nice. Circle your arms overhead. Clap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Set your hands down. Table pose. Cat. Round your back. Tuck your chin in. Meow. Cow pose. Lift your chin and tail. You'll flex your spine. Moo. Cat. Meow. Cow. Moo. Cat. Meow. Cow. Moo. Child's pose. Sink your hips towards your heels. We also call this rock pose. You can drop your head, and if your shoulders are tight, you might bend your elbows towards your body, maybe even make a pillow with your hands. But if your shoulders like to be stretched, you can outstretch your arms in front of you. This is a great low back stretch, and you can always pause here. Everything you do in this class is gentle for your body. You can choose it or you don't have to if it doesn't feel gentle to you. Start to lift up to table pose, hands and knees. Today, take a lion's breath, and it's kind of a funny breath. You pull back and take an inhale, and when you pull forward and exhale, you stick your tongue out and make an ugly face. And you get all the negative energy out like that. And so let's do it several times. Inhale, pull back, exhale, pull forward, make an ugly face. And get all the negative energy out. Anytime you're angry, you can do this one. Anytime you're sad, anytime you feel overwhelmed. One more. Good job. This time, lay all the way down onto your belly. Get there safely and let your legs extend behind you. Bring the toes of your feet kind of together and then relax your legs. Place your elbows underneath your shoulders. You come into Sphinx pose. Act like you have a lot of necklaces on your neck. So lift the crown of your head up and take your shoulders down your back. So Sphinx are kind of like the statues outside of the Egypt pyramids. You might see them there. And they have a lot of necklaces. And this is a great stretch, an opening for your heart here. But take care of your neck. Some people enjoy stretching their neck. Be careful. I cannot be in your neck. So you have to notice what's going on with your neck. You can drop your chin towards your chest if that feels good. You can take your chin from one shoulder through center and over to the other, very carefully and mindfully. I even like to move slowly for my neck. And then lower down, make a pillow with your hands and turn your forehead down on your pillow. Draw your right knee up in line with your right hip. You'll come into a half frog pose. So my knee, my hip are in a straight line across from each other. My knee and ankle are in a straight line up and down from each other. But if that doesn't feel good on your floor, you can always pull your foot towards your body. This is a great inner thigh stretch. Half frogs are like baby frogs or tadpoles. So they don't make a lot of ribbit sounds. Well, you can gently just kind of wiggle into it, press your right knee away from your body. Tadpoles are really small and gentle creatures, very loving. And they love all of the earth. First, they're born in the water, and then they come and live on the land. They love all of the earth. Extend your right leg behind you and kind of shimmy your hips now back and forth. And try the other side. So left knee pulls up in line with your left hip. And it's that tadpole or half frog. So left knee, left hip are in a straight line across from each other. Good. And you relax into it. Let the stretch happen in your left inner thigh, excuse me. Start to extend your left leg behind you. Shimmy your hips a little, kind of like you're swimming like a tadpole through the water. This will reset your hips. This time, instead of your elbows underneath your shoulders, plant your hands. So your palms are down and your elbows point up and back, kind of like wings. Pull your elbows in towards one another. As you come into Cobra pose, you use the strength of your low back. So your hands don't even really have to touch down. You start to lift your chest a little bit and lower your chest. Go back and forth a few times. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, lower your chest. Yes, this strengthens a big muscle on your back, latissimus dorsi. And you never have to know that, but when we use this muscle, it gets stronger. Nice. And you open your heart. Beautiful. Child's pose, sink it back, hips to heels. You can bring your big toes to touch. Send your hips back. And remember, you can make a pillow with your hands or outstretch your arms. It's up to you and your shoulders. Come into table pose again, hands and knees posture. And then round your back, tuck your chin in, come into cat pose. Some of you will keep your knees down on your mat if you enjoy this, but if you want to make it a strong cat, turn your toes behind you and just lift your knees a couple of inches. This forces your core to get strong. And of course, this is an option. You don't have to do the strong cat. 3, 2, 1. Everyone pull up and back into downward facing dog. That upside down V shape. If your hamstrings are very tight today, you can bend your knees more. Michael often has to bend his knees because his hamstrings are tight, but as soon as he pulls his heels down and back, it helps to intensify the stretch. You can make it a playful dog. Pick up one leg behind you. Nice. Set that foot down. Pick up the other leg behind you. Playful dog. Good. Set that foot down. You could stay here, or maybe you make it a real playful dog and hop both feet up and down. Good. Nice. Walk your feet up to your hands. So you're in a standing forward fold. All of the pressure is off of your hands and you can let them dangle. Let your head dangle and tuck your chin towards your chest so your neck gets a good stretch here. Come to a table back. So it's a half back. Hands can come on your legs and the crown of your head extends forward. So if I sat a glass of water on your back, you could hold it. You even pull your shoulder blades back behind you. Stand all the way up, circle your arms overhead, clap 3 times. 1, 2, 3, good job. Hands come together in front of your heart, like this. Nice. Circle your arms overhead. This time, wiggle your fingers. See if you can lift up onto your toes. Wiggle your fingers and lift up onto your toes. Nice, very healthy for your brain. Set your heels down, forward fold over your legs. Beautiful. Step your left foot back. And you can set the back knee down. So your left knee comes underneath your left hip. Right foot is totally planted. If you're just on your toes, scoot your foot up so your foot is absolutely down. Press into the back foot. This will help stabilize you. Whether the top of your back foot is down or the toes, doesn't matter. And then reach your arms up overhead. It's a grounded warrior 1. Good. And you're grounded and you're strong. So let's see your muscles. Bend your elbows. Yeah, very nice. Beautiful. Set your hands down inside your bent right knee. This is a dragon pose. Bring your head towards your big toe. That might mean you just tuck your chin and look at your right big toe. It might mean that your head touches your right big toe, depending on how flexible you are. Dragons take very deep, fiery breaths. Let's do that. Let's take a good 7 deep, fiery breaths. In and out. In and out. In and out. Again. Take a few more at your pace. This is a very tricky transition. Keep your left hand down and see if you can pick up your right side body. And you could set your right foot down so that your shoulders are aligning. Good, you got it. And the back leg can be lifted or down. It's totally up to you. Nice, beautiful. This is a modified half moon pose. Half moons are so pretty. Nicely done. Your hand and your knee come down, and then walk your knees over to the right side of your mat and set your left hip down in the center. Do a few push-ups, lower your chest and then lift your chest. This is very healthy for your heart. Lower and lift. And a few more, lower and lift. Good. This time you'll lift and turn and face the back of your mat. So I know some of you might turn around, but the idea is that when we take our loved one's hand and interlace or press palm to palm, that we're on the opposite side. Good. So go ahead and take the hand of your loved one and reach that arm all the way up so you make your tunnel to begin with. Good. Nice. And so your left hand is planted down next to you. Okay, now bend your elbow with the loved one and reach your left arm up and over and tap. And then set that hand down, make your tunnel again, lift up through the side body. Beautiful. Bend your elbow, reach up and over your head, tap. Again, that hand plants down, you make your tunnel, lift your right arm up. It's probably your left arm, huh, Michael? Okay, gotcha. And then your arm reaches up and over last time. Set your hand down, make your tunnel and pause. And you might drop your head towards the hand that's planted next to you. Beautiful. Bend at the elbow, this time caterpillar, walk your hands out and fold over. So your chin might tuck or your head might even touch your legs, depending on how flexible you are. Here, Michael bends his knees a lot because his hamstrings are tight, and you're welcome to do that. Or you can straighten your knees if you need more of a stretch and reach towards your toes. And caterpillars are very loose, so try to relax into it. You might even rock a little side to side, maybe move a little forward and back, just to feel into the stretch. And then caterpillars build their cocoons and they're pretty still. So come back to center and just pause. Take a few deep breaths. Start to walk your hands back towards your body. And now, since we're all facing the opposite direction, let's flip around on our mat so that we're still seated, but that we could see each other. Plant your feet when you arrive so your knees bend. Hands go behind you, fingers point towards your body. Lift your heart out in front of you. Let your heart lead. So just like you're puffing your chest, like you want to shine your heart's light forward. Good. And you could stay here, or maybe you start to lift your hips, reverse table pose. And if you want to make it a spider, go ahead, you crawl forward, you crawl back. That's totally an option. You could choose it or you don't have to. Eventually you come back and set your hips down. You know this part, you separate your feet a little wider than your hips, and it's the seated frog. So you grab a hold of your shins with your hands, but don't let it be your arms that pull you up. Let your heart lift you forward. So you create the lift in your lower back. Ribbit. Let your toes relax. Allow your jaw to relax. And frogs usually live near water. Start to rock a little forward and back. So you come into the rocking boat pose. Eventually, you rock all the way up and get to the squatted frog. And so now your bum lifts a little bit and your feet can be down, or you might be up on your toes. Good. And this is a nice inner thigh stretch. You could pause here. If you want to make it a bouncing frog or a hopping frog, go ahead. Hop forward, hop back. Nice. Ribbit. Awesome. Set your hands down, set your knees down gently. And reach all the way up so that your chest lifts. Come into owl pose. Interlace your fingers in front of you. And just bend at your elbows. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. This is healthy for your brain to figure out how to do this and what muscles to use. Back to center, your palms face forward and you press your hands forward. Now you get the shoulder stretch. Reach your arms up over your head and then waterfall. Fingers wiggle and come all the way down next to you. Nice. Circle your arms overhead, clap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Set your hands down, cat pose. Round your back, tuck your chin in. Cow, lift your chin and tail. Do several of these. It's very healthy for your spine. Exhale to round and tuck. Meow. Inhale to lift and flex. Move. Exhale, meow. Your pace. You can go fast or slow. It's up to you. Child's pose or rock pose as you settle back. Release your head down. Climb up to table, hands and knees pose. And down dog. Turn your toes, lift your hips up and back. Maybe make it a playful dog, pick up one leg. Maybe just make it a stable dog. Set that foot down, pick up your other leg. Set that foot down, maybe you take a couple hops. Eventually walk your feet up to your hands. Standing forward fold. And make it a table back. So hands on your legs and the crown of your head reaches forward. Beautiful. Stand all the way up. Mountain pose. Turn your palms forward, and you can make it a stable mountain, or maybe you make it an avalanche and you wiggle on your mat. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Nice job. Circle your arms overhead, clap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Forward fold over your legs. Set your hands down. Step back to down dog. And this time, rise up on your toes and then draw your heels down. And rise up on your toes and draw your heels down. One more time. Walk your feet up to your hands yet again. Standing forward fold. Flat back or tabletop back, hands on your legs, crown of your head reaches forward. This time, stand all the way up, circle your arms overhead, wiggle your fingers, and see if you can rise up onto your toes and keep wiggling your fingers. This is all really healthy for your brain. Set your heels down, forward fold over your legs. It's very good to raise your head above your heart and hang it down below your heart. This time, your right foot steps back, and you set your right knee down under your right hip. So your left foot is totally planted. Press into the back toes and reach your arms up overhead. Rounded warrior 1. Nice. You got it. Bend at your elbows so you make your strong warrior. Show me your muscles. Good. Nice. Dragon pose. Hands come down inside your bent knee. Head to big toe. That might mean you don't get very far towards your big toe, and it might mean you do get very far towards your big toe. Dragons take those deep dragon breaths. Go ahead. Keep your right hand down. This is a tricky transition, but you try to pick up your whole left side body. And you could set your left foot down, but you're stacking your shoulders. Or you can keep your left leg lifted. It's a half moon with the modification of your knee being down. Your hand and your knee come down, so you come into table pose again. Lion's breath. So inhale, pull back. Exhale, pull forward and stick your tongue out. Ugly face. Silly face. Inhale, back. Exhale, forward. Silly face. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. A few more and you get out all the negative energy. Last one. This time you pull back into table and just walk your knees to the left side of your mat. Set your right hip down in the center. Do a few push-ups, lower your chest and lift your chest. This helps your heart because you pump your blood and you also build the muscles around your heart stronger. Start to lift your chest. This time, swing your legs out in front of you so we're facing each other again. Nice. And lay down on your back. Once you get on your back, lift your feet above your heart. And you might soften at your knees and even hold on behind your knees if you enjoy that. If your low back enjoys support, you can tuck your hands underneath your hips. If you need a little extra, you might lift your arms kind of like you're reaching towards your feet. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. This is very healthy for your circulation as your feet are above your heart. But when you wiggle your fingers and toes, it's really healthy for your brain too. Take a few deep breaths here. kind of like dragon breaths. Slow, deep, long. Set your feet down about hip distance apart. Let all 10 toes point forward. Bring your arms by your side and let your palms face down. Squeeze your belly button down. This flattens out your low back and supports your low back. And then press into your feet, see if you can lift your hips. So you lift your bum right up off your mat. Bridge pose. So if a ship was sailing underneath you, it could sail right through your knees and your back, and a car could drive right on your belly and your chest. Lower your hips down. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a hug. The attitude is, I love you, me. You're the best me I ever had. And you might even rock a little side to side, side to side. This loving attitude, full of heart, full of compassion for yourself and your loved ones. And then take your knees over to the right and open your arms underneath you, either to a T or you can cactus your arms if you're close to your loved one. Keep your shoulder blades down underneath you. If your left shoulder kind of pops up, just melt it towards the ground. And it's okay if it's a little bit lifted. A spinal twist. Take your knees up and over to the other side. This will bring out any stress or tension out of your low to mid back. Bring your knees back to center and extend your legs long. Come into burrito pose. Take the sides of your mat and pull them up towards your body. I have a lot of toppings in my burrito, but it's yoga dinner time. So you make a nice yoga burrito. Nice. You're cooking for your loved ones. Now that's real love. And release the sides of your mat. Come into resting pose. And when you come into resting pose, your legs can be long, but if your low back feels a little ache, you might pick up your hips and reset them. And if that pressure in the low back is still there, then you can plant your feet so your knees bend. Turn your palms up next to you. Close your eyes and relax your face. Take a few deep breaths in and out. And then let your breath become natural and no longer make your breath do anything. Just relax. Start to take a few deeper breaths. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Stretch in any way that feels good to your body, please. Eventually bring your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself another hug. Give yourself love. When you're ready, come up to a seated position, please. When you get into seated, your hands can be in your lap or you can put them together in front of your heart. It's your choice. Whatever you choose, close your eyes, tuck your chin gently. Give it another breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth. The light in me humbly bows to your inner light. Namaste. Thank you, Casabans, for joining tonight.